Hi, my name is Sydney, and today I'll be walking you through my Lab 2 project, which looked at the relationship between GPA and working memory using a digit span task. What is digit span? Digit span is a common way to measure working memory. Basically, you hear or see a string of numbers and have to repeat them in order. It helps test how well your brain can temporarily hold and use information, like when you remember a phone number just long enough to type it in. Let's test your working memory. I'm going to show you a short list of numbers on the next slide, and I want you to try to remember them in order. Could you remember the numbers? On the next slide, I'll reveal what the correct numbers were. If you guessed 297, then you were correct. That's your working memory in action. Some people are better at this than others, and that made me wonder, does being good at tasks like this relate to academic success? Why might working memory relate to GPA? Working memory helps us follow instructions, solve problems, and stay focused, skills that seem important for doing well in school. So I expected students with stronger working memory to also have stronger GPAs. Previous research. Previous studies have shown mixed results. One study by Amzil found that working memory and cognitive control were related to academic achievement. Another by Almarzuki found that poor sleep and mental health affected working memory and GPA. So I wanted to explore this further with my own data. First, here are some graphs from the Almarzuki study. The first two bar graphs show that students who took longer to fall asleep or had more frequent sleep disturbances tended to have slightly lower GPAs. The third graph shows a clear negative correlation between working memory errors and GPA. Basically, the more memory errors a student made, the lower their GPA. Distraction and memory, a class concept. This connects with what we've learned about distractions in class. Distractions like phone use or lack of sleep can overload our working memory, making it harder to focus and learn. This graph is from the Wilmer 2017 study. It shows that higher technology engagement is linked to lower impulse control, which in turn leads to more impulsive decision making. My hypothesis was that students with stronger working memory, higher digit span scores, would have higher GPAs. I expected a positive correlation between the two. My Lab 2 data. Here's what I found. So I ran a Pearson correlation and I found a very weak relationship between GPA and digit span scores. There was basically no connection. The correlation was 0.02 and the p-value was 0.69, so it wasn't statistically significant. What this means. This basically means that working memory and GPA weren't clearly related in my data. My hypothesis was not supported. It's possible that other things like motivation, study habits, or sleep have a stronger impact on GPA than memory alone. Why it matters. This challenges the idea that memory alone predicts success. It reminds us to consider other strengths like time management or emotional regulation. And it also encourages everyone to support and consider a variety of learning styles and abilities. Final takeaways. To wrap everything up, GPA and working memory weren't strongly linked in my sample. Academic success likely depends on more than just memory, so it's very important to look at the bigger picture when thinking about what helps students do well. This is my references page, and here are my credits. Thank you so much for watching.